Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending today's workshop, Introduction to Acoustic Guitar Overview, and then we're going to touch a little bit on Module 1. I'm Tom Lamog. I'm an instructor with Guitars for Vets and the Guitars for Vets Learning Center. Today, we're going to be providing an overview of the topics needed for beginning your journey in becoming a guitar player. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the presentation itself. I'm going to be targeting three different types of individuals. First of all, the novice player. So if you're waiting to enroll into the Guitars for Vets guitar lessons and you're kind of chomping at the bit to actually pick up that guitar and start learning, this workshop and the four that follow it is for you. This is also for the beginner player looking to reinforce what they've already learned, either through the Guitars for Vets lessons, through the Learning Center's modules and live events, or some other training. And then finally, the third individual that we're targeting would be for the G4V graduate. If you've already graduated and you're curious about becoming an instructor, you may have noticed or been approached by other instructors, including Paul Lilley, about becoming an instructor. Maybe the curriculum is easy enough for you to go ahead and teach others, just like what our instructor team and I will be doing for this evening. So we're going to be taking just a real overview of the complete contents of all five modules. And to help me kick things off, I'm going to bring in my partner in crime. You may have seen him on the G4V Guitar Shop. That happens every second Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern, and that's coming up in a couple of weeks, isn't it, my friend? How are you, Daniel?
Yeah, it's West Coast versus East Coast, isn't it always, Tom?
I know it is. It is. It's good to have you.
I'm here in Florida, and you're over there on the left side.
Left coast, that whole thing. Hey, so let's talk a little bit about tonight. We are kicking off the ITAG series. Now, ITAG was one of the first programs, in fact, the first program that the Guitars for Vets Learning Center initiated. And Paul Lilley, our chapter coordinator and director of online learning for Guitars for Vets, was the one who put together the curriculum. And it was a summer afternoon in 2022 when we had dozens of people attend. And I got to tell you, over that course of the last year and a half or so, the curriculum hasn't really changed that much. So, a lot of the information that we're going to be going through over the next 5 weeks is something that your instructor, once you get assigned an instructor, will be reviewing in a deeper dive. But before we do that, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background as a G4V instructor?
All right. Well, I was trying to get on the local chapter here, and then I hooked up with Paul Lilley or got hooked up to Paul Lilley to become an instructor with the cyber chapter, the CavArt cyber chapter, which I've been in for over a year now, I believe. I've graduated about 6 or 7 students, I believe, so far. I'm picking up 2 more this month. I've been a guitar player since 1969, I think it was, 69 or 70. I've been playing for quite a long time. And I remember all the struggles and strifes I went through for learning. And this program is just amazing for teaching some basic chords within 11 weeks. The program was put out for instructors to be able to advance students right along through the learning process. And we can get you playing, and it's just great to be a part of it, and looking to keep on until I can't keep on no more.
All right. So and I'll go ahead and introduce you. We're going to get a couple more of our instructors who will be joining us to kind of talk us through the processes that each of you will undergo over the next 5 lessons. So let me first of all bring on David Welch. And David, hey, from our Salem chapter, Salem, Oregon chapter, And hey, welcome, David. Thanks for being a part of the panel. Why don't you introduce yourself, my friend?
Hey Tom, how you doing?
Real good, real
So
good.
I'm like Tom said, my name's David Welch. I've been an instructor for the last 3 years. I graduated through the Guitars for Vets program in early 2018. I was in the Army for 13 and a half years, where I deployed to Afghanistan a few times with some infantry units and 10th Mountain Division. But yeah, really love this program and been absolutely floored by how amazing this organization is.
It's
So
great to have you, man. And this David, I had met David once over at the Salem, Oregon chapter, and we met for a jam. And this man works hard at keeping these guys playing, the men and women playing, in an area that is it's pretty sparse. I mean, there's a lot of people that drive in to where you're at, and you take the time to print out the song sheets and show them strumming patterns and playing songs and all, and you do it very well. People have come, they look forward to it. I've seen that for sure. So thanks, and I appreciate it. Thank you for joining this group, as we call it, the instructor panel. Let me go ahead and introduce you now to another one of our instructors, and that's Joel Grant. And Joel, welcome to the instructor panel. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Joel. I'm happy to be here. I was actually went through the first ITAG program back in 2022. I was waiting for surgery, so I didn't really have nothing really to do. So I got introduced to Paul, and he got me on Covart, and we went through the ITAG program. After that, I was lucky enough to have Tom be my Guitar for Vets instructor. I went through the whole 11-week program, and then I decided to be a guitar instructor. I had guitars for, man, over 30 years, but I never really took the time to really learn how to play. I traveled around the world. I'm left-handed. I just collected left-hand guitars, and I wanted to finally get more involved. So here I am, an instructor, graduated 3 students already, and I'm a Coast Guard veteran.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Yeah, thanks for that brief introduction. Yes, you were my student, and I have to tell you, let me tell you a little secret about Joel. He's a left-handed player. Now, the really nice thing about being a left-handed player is, you know, if your camera, when you're doing this virtually, and your camera looks like a reflection, it's truly helpful. I'll say that when you play with other right-handed players, if you will. So let me go ahead and now bring back the panel. If you actually logged in through the Guitars for Vets Learning Center, the event page itself, the invitation included a PDF. And fortunately, what I can do right now is just go ahead and quickly bring up what I'm seeing here. And you've got, let's see here, the Intro to Acoustic Guitar Program Overview is the cover page. And then the first page, which we're all going to talk about right now, is the steel string acoustic guitar, the physical features of that steel string acoustic guitar. Now, why are we even interested in talking about this? You know, the what's the significance of knowing the different components of an acoustic guitar? And I'm going to go ahead and throw this out to the panel. First of all, I mean, for me, here's what I can tell you. There are different types of guitars that are out there. And for me, it's kind of like, well, it would be good to know certain features about an acoustic guitar, especially if I'm sitting down with maybe another player who's probably really well versed on it. And for me, it's all pride. It's like, yeah, I want to know, I want to talk about the headstock because that's where you're going to find a lot of information about the guitar. But before I say any more, let me go. I'm going to start with you, David. Is it important for you to know the physical features of an acoustic guitar?
100%. And like most of our veterans know, every time you pick up a new piece of equipment in the military, you got to know exactly how it works. You got to pull out that technical manual, and you got to know from A to Z what makes it do what it's supposed to do. So this slide right here perfectly sums it up. You got your headstock and your tuners up top, which will adjust how you tune each of your strings. You got your frets, which are the little metal bars on your fingerboard. And you got 6 strings. You got your sound hole, and a lot of these different things play into what makes the sound that it's supposed to make. And some of that can be the type of strings. Some of that can be, a large part of that could be the size of the guitar. So like Tom was saying, not every guitar is the exact same guitar. There's different sizes. And generally, if you take out the equation of what type of wood is involved, the larger the guitar body, the more bass you'll get from the strumming of the guitar. The smaller the body, the more you'll hear the thinner strings, and it will sound a little lighter, kind of thing.
Real good. Hey, let me go ahead and ask the next question. Obviously, there are different, the body of the guitar, right? They come in different sizes. And the Guitar Shop, another Guitars for Vets Learning Center show that Daniel and I do, recently talked about the different types of guitar bodies. And Daniel, I don't know if you remember how much, about like the different sizes and what some of the names were. I mean, the parlor guitar was one that comes to mind, and it was really small. The body was really small. So, I mean, do you recall what some of those were? What they were putting you on the spot?
I think so. I was there.
I know.
I was going to say, I could take some.
You have various types, and believe it or not, each type actually has its uses for different. It can be the genre you're playing. It could be the type of music you're playing. I just said the type of music you're playing. What you want to do with the guitar. If you're a finger picker, you're going to want more of a classical style, which are usually the smaller bodies, the taller style bodies. If you're looking to play around the campfire, you may want something like just a dreadnought, not a jumbo. Then you have your jumbos or your grand auditoriums, and they put out the most sound.
Even travel guitars, they make.
And they have the travel guitars, and Tom has one of those, and it's an amazing piece of equipment.
I was going to say,
I was most impressed with it. So there are the different types of guitars, and the reasons, again, the body sizes are so different is the various uses depending on your need or what you want to do them later on your journey.
Exactly.
And how you feel holding the guitar too.
Yeah, exactly. Ken, to everyone, you have to know what you're working with. Any tool you use, it is good to know every part, and knowing it will make you a better user of it. True. Very true, even with music. David, was there something else? Was there any other guitar type that was missing?
I was just going to relate to, so for some of the younger students that are waiting to go through the program, you'll see as you go through the program, you'll start watching people play the guitar. And you'll start seeing what they're doing with it and how they're making the sounds they are. One example, you'll notice like Ed Sheeran. You'll notice he doesn't play a big dreadnought guitar, which is the most common acoustic steel body shape. He plays a 3/4 to a travel size guitar. And that's because he plays a lot of finger style, lighter strings. Like I was saying, the smaller the body, the more those lighter strings project their sound out. And so once you get started on your road and you start developing that ear for the guitar and what sounds you like and what sounds you don't like, you might then start thinking about different body sizes and what sound you want to produce at that point.
Excellent. Here's one. Joel, get your guitar out. What's the difference? Well, let's see. The
You
kind of
see?
way. So I play, yeah. Here's the thing is that I play a right-handed guitar, right? And Joel is a lefty. And you can tell by how he's holding it, the strings itself, the thick string up on top. Okay, that's his low E string. Okay, so the E string, depending on again, what's the thickest string and which way is the headstock pointing?
Yeah.
The headstock, right? Yeah, it's got their
Yeah.
headstock. Which way is it pointing? Is it left or right? Are you picking up a left-handed guitar or are you playing a right-handed guitar? Everyone grab your
mine is
guitars right
pointing
now.
towards the right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So everyone grab your guitar. We're going to point out the important things together. All right. We're going to learn this together. So first, let's point out the headstock. Here's your headstock. You're going to usually find like the brand name. For me, this is Martin. I got a Martin. And the headstock is here. And your tuners, where are the tuners at? Your tuners. Yeah. And what do these do? Anyone.
Tighten and slacken the strings.
They tighten, they slacken the strings. Exactly. If you're sharp or you're flat or you're in tune, this is what you're going to turn to make the right tone. Okay, and now let's go ahead and point to the neck. The neck. This is the neck right here. All right, the neck of the guitar. All right, and on that neck, you're going to find fret wires. All right, those things right there. Those are your fret wires. All right. And then, of course, between those fret wires is your fingerboard. These are frets, and the fingerboard as well, too. Is where you're going to put your fingers at. Right? You're not going to put it necessarily on top of the fret wire. You're playing in between the frets, the fret wires, the frets. Okay? All right, sound hole. Where's the sound hole? It's right here, of course. No, it's not. It's right here, right? It's this. Wrong. It's here. Sound is coming out of the hole, sound hole. All right, so you don't necessarily want to block put anything in there to block it, unless of course it's something that will prevent feedback. But we can talk about that when we talk about that section in the coming weeks. All right, and then you've got the bridge. Here's the bridge. Right, this is your bridge. What's the significance of the bridge? What's the significance of the bridge?
You got your pins that hold the string down through the body, and then it lets the strings sit right across them, and then it helps with the tensioning of the strings.
Right.
Yeah, you
now
got
the strings. Go ahead, David.
You got your saddle, which is the white part that the strings are laying on top of.
Mm-hmm.
And when you learn later, you'll learn that there are two ways in which you can adjust the strings if they're too high, and this is where you go to a store to do so. But they'll do that by messing with the nut and shaving it down, or this white piece. Once the strings are off the guitar, this pops right out, and you can shorten this to bring the strings down. So it's an adjustment thing.
Or you could bring it into a luthier who will be happy to do it for you.
Like I said, that is 100% bring it into a luthier.
That would be me. From Frank, and then string size and composition change the sound greatly as well. And thank you, Ken. String height, which is something that David just talked about. Okay, and then let's see. You got the bridge pins. And of course, when the string vibrates, you hit it. It's actually communicating that to the bridge, and that's what's pushing it to the sound, to the body of the guitar itself, and pushing out the sound through the sound hole. All right. So now that we got that in the body, of course, is that. So, all right, everyone got an A on that one, on that pop quiz. Let's move on to the next slide here. The next slide, let me go ahead and share that. The next slide is going to be the musical alphabet. Now, again, don't worry if we're kind of speeding through this really quickly, because we're going to be covering this in the coming weeks. Again, there are going to be four consecutive Tuesdays at 5:30 Pacific and 8:30 Eastern, where we're going to be taking everything that you see and into a deeper dive. So don't worry. This is just your introduction. So we're taking a look at the musical alphabet, and there are 12 notes. And if you all are able to see the PowerPoint that I've got on my screen, or if you've got a copy of the PDF, you'll see that it starts with A on the very left, and then you'll see A sharp, B flat, which is the same note, and then B, C, C sharp, D flat. As you ascend the scale, as you go up the scale, you see those letters change, and then you've got D, then D sharp, E flat, same note. E, F, F sharp, G flat, same note. G, G sharp, A flat, which are the same note. It also says the higher you go up these letters, the higher the pitch. And then as you descend, G, G flat, F, E, E flat, D, and so on, it goes lower and the pitch is lowered. All right, so these are the only letters that you will find when it comes to playing music. There's no H, there's no I. Oh, maybe there is I, but it's not a note.
Well, there's an H. But it's in Europe, in Germany, and it's a replacement for the B note.
Oh,
It's weird.
yes.
I uploaded a video
I
about
heard
it
about
on
that.
our Facebook for Guitars for Vets. Say no more. It's interesting. It's crazy, but yes.
Real good. So let's see here. In the handout itself, it's we'll talk about sharps and flats and why is it the same note? Why don't you just say one note? Why do you have to use two? And there's a reason for it. Music theory, for those of you who are interested in learning more than just the surface of information that we're providing you with in these 5 weeks, we definitely can point you to the community resources and show you a little bit more about that. So let's see, the order of the notes is a fixed constant. So if you're going to go up a half a step, okay, it's not going to be from A to G or A to E. It's going to be A to A sharp or B flat. All right, this you have to follow the structure, the order that's listed there in terms of making use of the musical alphabet. What did I miss, guys? Did I miss anything?
I was just going to say, if we're going to go over steps and all that. So if you're looking at the music alphabet, you'll notice a few things. You'll notice that not between every letter, there isn't a sharp and flat between every letter. That's the first thing you'll notice. So between B and C, there's no B sharp or, C flat. And between the E and F, there's no, E sharp or F flat. The easiest way to visualize this is if you ever looked at a piano. So your A, B, C, D, E, F, G, those are all your white keys of the piano. All your sharps and flats are your black keys of the piano. So if next time you look at a piano, you'll notice that there's some white keys on the piano that don't have a black key between them. That's your B and C and your E and F keys on the piano.
Very good. Do we have any piano players out there? Oh,
Yep.
Nice
Kathy.
cat.
Kathy's showing off. There she yeah. There she is. We were waiting for you to bring your keyboard keys. Yes. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Do you want it, Kathy? I'm going to ask you to unmute so you can go ahead and talk about what David was just saying, that there's no sharp between B and C and a sharp between E and F. Elevator speech. I'm going to give you 30 seconds.
But I give it a try. So you were just speaking about from C or from B to C. There's
Close.
no black key.
Right. Yeah.
And then from that E to F, there's no black key. So that's why we don't have an E sharp or an E or an F flat. It just goes straight to the letter.
You got
And
it.
all of these black keys are the ones that you're either calling a sharp or a flat, and it depends on what you're doing.
There you go. All right.
So
I would like
Tom knows this. Yeah, thank
Take a
you.
bow.
So Tom can tell you more about this too. But if you go down a music theory rabbit hole, there is such thing as an E sharp, and there is such thing as an C flat. But music theory has rules on why you would call something a sharp and why you would call something a flat instead.
Yes.
So
And we
just be
know,
mindful of that.
and we know that over the course of the 5 weeks, theory will be lightly And I do mean lightly touched. So don't freak out. Yeah.
Yep.
Kathy, thank you for that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Hey, Paul, it's good to see you. Paul Lilley, our Director of Online Learning, has finally joined us. How are you, Paul? Let's
Good,
see.
thanks.
Let me get you back over here. You know, I wanted to ask you before we continue on. I'm gonna let me just go ahead and get you on screen here. Let me just remove the pin because Paul, of course, he's the one who has created the curriculum for ITAG. And when we started the program, it was initially delivered August 2022, which is almost a year and a half ago or so. And it was a summer afternoon, and you had a screen full of people participating. It was the first time that it was launched. And I wanted to find out from you, Paul, in your opinion, has anything changed in that time in terms of what we're providing in the way of instruction for ITAG to these new players?
The more we teach, I think the more we learn. That's part of why we love teaching. It's really a lifelong learning is kind of the tagline for these instruments. But what we did, we have a 10-hour curriculum for the National Cyber Program, and we have such a waiting list still of veterans that we can't hook up with instructors. I'm constantly recruiting instructors. So if any of you I'm looking at you, DJ. If any of you guys are interested in learning how to teach, you don't have to have taught before. We make it very, very easy for you. We provide a lot of resources. And so we have an hour by hour, a 10-hour curriculum. And when I created ITAG, we had such a waiting list, and we had every time we would enroll into the national program, there were so many vets on Facebook and social media that were kind of disappointed because they couldn't get in. And so we independently we're partnering with CavArts to be a part of this virtual community. And when we joined CavArts, and I think that was June of that year, Tom, so we were moving stuff pretty quick. Yeah. I took the first 5 hours of our curriculum. So we kind of follow this logic of fretting, chords, chord transition, and strumming. If you think about building your house, that's going to be your basement. And everything else you want to do above that, finger picking, bar chords, different genres, it's going to be on this really solid foundation. And so we created ITAG for those veterans that were waiting to get matched up with an instructor and waiting and waiting. And we were trying to encourage them that they can start, the ITAG program is a self-guided learning module. So I don't know that a lot has changed for the fundamentals, Tom. I think for the remaining hours that we haven't put into an ITAG program yet, we're still learning a lot about how we teach rhythm and how we teach strumming and how we teach timing, and it's just a lot of fun.
It was the program that started it all. From that we went into iJam, ISAP, and everything that you see today. But we wanted to make sure that anyone who wanted to learn really just the fundamentals without without having to just be idle and waiting to be enrolled in the national program, to have something, to be able to do something. And so
I'll tell you what changed. I'll tell you what's changed, Tom, for our instructors now that are working. So I'm seeing a few names on here, and I'm going to guess, is she still on here? I think I see a few of you that are in the queue or just set up with your instructors. So one of the things that's changed, our instructors are starting to assign homework to veterans between weeks, and often it's go review ITAG 1, because everything we just covered about fretting and the E minor and the A sus2 and the chromatic scale, it's all there for you. And of course, with ITAG, we're trying to hit all of your senses. So there's videos, there's the graphics. Actually, Tom, if I made any change, I would take the design of your PDFs, and those would be our graphics now.
It was a team effort, man. It was fun getting that program launched because so many people have gone through it, and there are some people that are not necessarily on the Learning Center path. They're on the G4V national path, which is kind of cool for them to kind of check things out as well too. All right. Well, listen, Paul, thanks. I'm gonna go ahead and bring back the rest of the panel. You stick around because if we're missing anything, God, we definitely would love you to just kind of chime in. And So we'll chat with you later. I see Daniel is back. Let me go ahead and bring Joel back and David as well too. So let's please continue on, and that is the open strings. Now, everyone grab your guitar because this is going to be one of those audience participation things. We're going to take a look at the strings here, all right? And it probably, when you're looking at this, okay, you're going to see 6 strings, all right? There are 6 strings that are on here, right? All right, that's a good thing. All right, so then let's talk now about the open string names. The open string names. Now, if you're a right-handed player, and you know, I've got my right-handed guitar player or guitar here, you're going to see a thick string. For me, it's going to be from, you know, with me looking at it from this position here, I see that thick string is going to be on the right for me. If I'm looking at it and I put it on my lap, for instance, it's going to be the top string. Right now, and then it gets thinner as it goes to the top of the neck. All right, you're looking really, and we're going to go into a deeper dive on this in the coming weeks. But the low E string is your bottom string. It's at the bottom of the neck, even though it really kind of not. It kind of defies your your thought. It's like, oh no, it's not. It's top. No. So we're gonna work on that, and then as you get to the top of the neck itself here, the high E string is the thinnest string. So you've got 6 strings, and the low E and the high E, okay? Then you've got the strings in between, that string here, A, okay, that's next to the low E string. Another name for it is the 5th string, by the way. That low E string is the 6th string. So 6 is E, that 5th string right here is A. Next to that is the 4th string, and that's D. And then the 3rd string is G. That B string, that's the 2nd string. And then the high E string is string number 1. All right, so let's repeat that. What, you don't know it? So who's got an acronym that can kind of help us figure out what these string names are? Which you guys want to go for it?
How about elephants and donkeys grow big ears?
What was that? Daniel, say it one more time.
Elephants and donkeys grow big ears.
Elephants and donkeys grow big ears. And David, I know you've got one as well. You want to share it?
Elvis ate dynamite. Goodbye, Elvis.
All right. And hey, Joel, I know you're a left-handed player now. What did we miss?
I never learned an acronym because growing back up in the 80s, there wasn't the internet where you can look. So I just learned my low E is on the left-hand side, then it goes to the A, to the D, to the G, to the B, and to the high E towards my right. So
you got
I just learned the names.
Yeah, we all learn it differently. If you are trying to identify, thank you, Ken, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. Every average dude gets better eventually. Thank you, Gary. I think, wait a second, the dude abides.
David's the dude abides.
The dude
David's got
abides.
his hand up there, Tom.
Wait, sorry, that's not. Say that one more time.
David's iPad has his hand up.
Oh, yeah. Does that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, Easter Bunny gets drunk at Easter.
Easter Bunny gets drunk at Easter.
That might
Timely.
Be my new favorite.
That's one I learned.
That might be my new favorite.
I like that. Hey, we better, yeah. Thank goodness. Thank you for sharing that, David. We are recording it, and we will transcribe that for everyone at our next ITAG. All right. So if you're taking a look at the handout, let me see here. Let me see if I could share this. We're taking a look at this page here, and this information here again is available to you if you go to the event invitation on the G4V Learning Center. I've attached the PDF itself, but you're going to see that the string names along with the number of the string and the position, the location, the thickest string on the thinnest string, and then you've got the acronym Elephants and donkeys grow big ears. Paul, maybe we should change that to what David suggests for the next lesson.
I'll
In
get
all,
back
in all
on that.
seriousness, if I can point out for just a minute,
Sure.
why actually it might be important we actually consider changing it to what he's pointing out is his acronym actually points out the strings in the order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as we teach the strings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versus the rest of us learning 88 Dynamite Goodbye Eddie is then going from 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's the first time I've heard it that way, but it actually makes a lot of sense to consider using those two together.
All right. Well, I like that. Thanks, James. All right. Appreciate it. All right. Let's see here. Let's move on to the next page, and the next page is tuning your guitar. All right. So we've got some really great videos in the ITAG Learning Module. And at the end, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and show you where in the G4V Learning Center you can find all of this. But the tuning your guitar piece itself, there are so many different ways that you can approach this. I know that if you graduate from the G4V guitar lessons, I believe we provide a snark, maybe, or maybe it'll be okay. I guess it depends on if you're in a chapter or the cyber chapter. But either way, if it's a snark or if it's not, or if it's something else, we will show you. We will take you through the process of tuning your guitar. So quick tips. I'm going to go around the round table here. Any quick tips to offer with regards to tuning without having to pick up your guitar and tuning it right now? So who wants to go first?
Slacken your strings and tune up to the notes.
Right. Exactly. So what you want, why? I'd like to answer that, but I'm going to let you guys.
If you try to go high and then bring it back down, after a bit, your guitar won't stay in tune. It's better to try to. Sometimes for brand new strings, I over tension a little bit and then bring them back down and then bring it back in tune.
Really good, really good. Let me I'm going to throw a hypothetical question to the panel here. What happens if you don't have a tuner? How do you tune? How do you tune? Oh, no, do not get your iPhone out. That doesn't count because you're at a campfire and there's no signal. And you've got 5% left on your. So how do you tune without a tuner, without a digital tuner, without, something that you can put to your headstock?
All right. Well,
First
off, you need a reference.
You need a reference. Yes. Does it have to be in tune? Does it have to be E or A or whatever?
It may not be if you're around the campfire, as long as they're all lined up in the right order.
There you go.
And you can work it out. But the way to do that is once you have your E string where you want it, your fat 6 string, then you can go to your 5th fret. That's where that's 5 wires down from the nut.
Mm-hmm.
And you match that up to the next string, which is your A string.
There you go.
And then you do it again from the A string to the D string, staying on that 5th fret.
Mm-hmm.
And from the D string to the G string, staying on the 5th fret. Now here's the kicker. You use the 4th fret to tune, or to match up from your G string to the B string. And that's because of the design and tuning of a guitar that has to be done that way. And then from the B string, once you have that in tune, then you go back to the 5th fret to the E string.
That's it. Yeah. Now, this typically works when you're the only guitar player. Or
Right.
if you have another guitar player, make sure you're both kind of tuning off of each other. But for right now, if you're at the beach and you don't have a signal and you don't have your phone, because it's kind of like, I'm leaving everything behind. Oh, I don't have a tuner. That's how you do it. You're just going to best guess low E string or A string, whichever one you want to use, and then tune off of that with the 5th or the 4th, the corresponding note on an adjacent string. And we'll get into that deeper.
David just showed the trusty tuning pitch pipe.
You have a pitch pipe. How awesome. That's like
Oh, yeah.
old school, serious
So-
old school.
So something that I think students need to know going into guitar, first off, your most important tool you're going to have is your ears. So typically, if your guitar is tuned up, the next day, if it's not in tune, it's going to be slightly out of tune. So all tuners that you use pretty much deal with a range of trying to get it in the middle. Some kind of visual where you're trying to get the needle in the middle and that's in tune kind of thing. So a lot of time you'll find maybe your strings have gotten a little flat, a little low. You just got to tighten up slightly. But being able to hear that and know over time after playing for a little bit the guitar, you're going to hear slight differences. And at that point, you throw on your tuner and you just double check that you're still in tune. And then you can just keep going.
Real good. And one final note on tuning itself. If you are playing with others, if you're going to a jam, or if you're, just playing with other players, important that you stay in tune, you keep in tune, because everyone relies on each other to be playing, in the right note, the right pitch, in tune. Otherwise, you might get that stink eye, it's like, what are you doing? So you want to make sure to keep that guitar in tune as best as you can. And we'll do a deeper dive on that when we get to that particular module.
Hey, Tom.
Paul.
Can you demonstrate for us the stink eye?
The stink eye, it's kind of like, and there are some words that go with that, usually, and they're not usually nice. It's kind of, what are you doing?
We don't want to edit out anything else later, so just keep that.
I'm good. I know. Oh, I know. Yeah, it's really, because that's kind of like, that's the last time I ask you to take a solo, or that's the last time I'm going to have you send it. You don't want that to happen. Okay, let's go on to the next page, and the next page is posture for playing guitar. So let me bring up that slide real quick, and this is what we're looking at here. Let's take a look at this. And this is thanks to Kelly Perkins, one of our instructors in Arizona, who put this together. There's a way to play guitar, and to sit properly. Make sure your back is straight, your shoulders are relaxed, your shoulder level. That's really where, the guitar neck itself, it should be high enough. The headstock should be high enough where it's really kind of at shoulder level. If you want to make sure that your posture is correct, you know what? I can tell you right now, that mirror, I've got one. You can sit at front of the chair rather than the back. Here's the reason for that, is because if you lean back, it's kind of tough to hold that guitar and kind of play it if you're leaning back. So you want to kind of keep that back straight. Keep your feet flat on the ground unless you're tapping your toes. We're going to get into that a little later. The guitar, the way that you hold it, I'm going to stop this right now, and I'm going to kind of go back to my panelists here. How are we supposed to hold a guitar? There are a couple of different ways, I know. One's classical position, the other one is a standard position. But can you guys demonstrate how it is that we are all holding a guitar with your leg?
I'm on a bar stool, and I got for me, since I'm left-handed, let me put my, I rest, since I'm a lefty, I rest, like the waist of the guitar right on my thigh, and then I kind of hold it a little bit of angle up. For me, this is a tiny guitar, so I don't have to angle it up really hard.
You got
but
it.
It's not totally flat, just got a slight angle to it.
Okay. Yeah, and you're lefty. Of course, I've got mine on my right thigh.
Yeah.
All right. And, I don't know if there are any classical players out there, but there's another way to hold. Oh, Daniel, do you want to
I
demonstrate?
hold mine in a classical position.
Do show. Do tell.
I wish my camera would get a better angle on it.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say I can kind of point it out with my angle. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's
Just-
yeah. Really.
It just sits right between your legs, and you
Mhm.
hold it at an upward angle like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is
you
not
go.
how I play my guitar.
Real good.
To me,
All right.
I have better access to the upper parts of the neck.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's as because I play lead, do a lot of soloing, but it
Yeah,
also
yeah.
affords me plenty of reach to the top of the neck.
Now let me go ahead and this might be easier for you to demonstrate if you stand and play.
Yeah.
You know, one thing you
Ah.
gotta have. I don't know about you, but this is kind of mandatory is to be able to stand and play, and we can definitely get into that at the appropriate time, whichever module lesson that is. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So we'll talk about straps as well, and I believe you make it through the G4V guitar lessons. A strap is included, so we want to make sure that you know how to use it. All right. And let's see, your arms. Here's the thing, and I tell all my students this is basically you want to have enough room so you can go ahead and move around. You move those arms around. So if you're sitting in a chair and you're seated back and you're like, you're not able to move around, then you're kind of going to need to change your posture on that in order to become, fully involved in playing that guitar properly. Did I miss anything, guys? Anything in regards to posture?
I was gonna mention one thing. So for me personally, I'm horrible at posture because I do not keep my back straight. But my biggest, I think the biggest important thing when playing the guitar, especially first starting out, is take a second to notice your body. When you start first playing the guitar, you're going to get tense. Your shoulders are going to slowly rise up and you're going to get really tense, and your fingers and your hands going to cramp up because you're getting frustrated. You spent so much time trying to practice or whatever. You need to take a second every once in a while and just lower your shoulders, keep them low, and relax. So if you find a position where you are relaxed, that is hugely important to you learning, because anything that gets you playing longer and you're enjoying it will keep you improving while you're playing. So the big key takeaway is be relaxed. Keep those shoulders down, be relaxed, and you'll be good to go. So
Tom, I might say that as an instructor, when we're working with new students, often when you're working with a new student and you're teaching them chords, of course, what are they doing? They're hunched over to look at their chords. So that's not a great playing position. The other thing that tends to happen is as much as the guitar comes out a little bit like that, it's really hard to roll up on the fingertips. So you almost want the back of that guitar against your side or your belly, and the slightest little movement this way makes it a lot harder to get right up on your fingertips. And those are two tendencies that just happen when we're first learning the guitar.
Yeah, good point.
I was
Good
going to say, Paul, to caveat on that, what I've been telling my students is your hand and your arm is like a rubber band. So if you're doing this already with your wrist and then you're curling your fingers, you're stretching that rubber band even more. So if you're able to get to the guitar where your wrist can stay straight and you can curl your fingers, you won't have as much tension and it won't hurt as much to play the guitar. So try to get to a spot where you're not doing this with your wrist, where your wrist is conked and bent like this, because that'll make moving your fingers even harder to play.
Good points. Let me move on. Let's talk about some of the discomfort that's associated with guitars. You have achy joints. Yeah. You're going to be doing a lot of the strumming. Okay. So there's that. What else is there, guys?
The fingertips.
Fingertips. How so?
Getting the calluses on your fingertips. It takes a little time. You get a little painful. When it's painful, stop. They'll build up. Take it easy. They'll come around. When it does start to hurt, don't keep playing. Just
really good.
take and rest your hand. Now, I've also found that soaking your fingertips. I tell my students to soak their fingertips if they're starting to get sore a little bit. It'll help them to, just chill out a little bit.
I had heard
And
vinegar is good with
that callus will come.
Yeah, I hear that vinegar is good. That was an old college teacher.
Yeah, I've heard something about vinegar myself.
soaking in
I'm not
vinegar.
sure on that one, but just sitting in some water for a minute.
I don't know if
Anything
we-
else?
About practicing like 15-minute periods. Don't try to practice an hour all at once at first. Just start out 15 minutes at a time.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is scientific, but when my fingers are bothering me, I have found that buying new guitar gear helps a lot.
Oh dear Lord.
I've read that. I've read that.
You've done it.
Ken posted, I use a credit card to put pressure on my tips when I am at work to help and apply alcohol. And Doc
Where-
Griff,
where
vinegar
we apply-
opens the cells up on meat. All right, now let's talk about where to put these. We're going to play the chromatic scale. Yes, we're all going to pick up our guitars right now while my dog accompanies us. And we're going to start to put fingers on frets. Yes, because you brought your guitar for a reason. So why don't we each provide a tip? How are we going to, first of all, position our hand so our fingers are over the frets? I'm going to start with, say, pretending you're holding a tennis ball. All right, and then holding a tennis ball, then just put it right up to the neck. All right, and then what's next, guys? What do you want? What should we do after that?
You want your thumb about just a little above center on your neck for proper finger positioning. You want to raise your fingers. You don't want them flat. You want them raised over like you're
arched,
just like that, Tom. Very
arched.
good.
You like that?
That's
You were my
good.
teacher. Did I tell you you were my instructor? No. You are my instructor tonight. What else is
And
there to the?
When you keep your thumb back, it will put your hand in that position that your fingers will be raised up off the fretboard, which will cut down a lot of that string buzzing and string muting that you'll get when you're trying to make your first chords.
Okay, how's everyone doing? Everyone trying this out, getting a feel for where that hand goes, the thumb, and then your fingers. Just the fingers are going to go, they're not going to touch the fret wire. We remember what fret wire is. We're putting it between the fret wires or a fret, all right? So here's what I'd like you all to do. We're going to take your fingers, your 4 fingers, and you're going to place them over the first fret, which is this first space here, and then the second finger over the second fret, and then like that. And we're just going to touch the strings. We're just going to touch the strings like that. All right? And if you're brave enough, you can play the strings with your other hand. All right? Just to get a feel for it. This is what you have to look forward to in the coming weeks. All right? We'll just kind of, you can try it on any string. All right? Give it a try. How's that feel? All right. And it's going to buzz. It may not sound right, but that's okay because, hey, we're going to teach you how to do that in the coming weeks. All right. So now you can call yourself a guitar player, right? Okay. All right. What else? Go ahead, Paul.
The 2 areas, like if you're first starting out on this and you're getting through that callus stage, which could be a slog sometimes, when you're doing that chromatic scale, usually these 2 fingers are your weakest fingers. So don't beat yourself up if you get a good fret here on the first, a good fret on the second, and your 3rd and 4th fingers are struggling a little bit. The other thing is when you go down towards the floor, each string, a lot of times that's where you screw up because you're still plucking your E string when your finger moves down to your A string. So you'll kind of be able be on the lookout for those 2 things when it happens. But that chromatic scale is doing a lot. You're not just working on your calluses by getting that in the proper places to fret, as Tom mentioned. But really, as you get better at it, it starts to become rhythmic, and you want to start getting the same kind of space of time between the notes, so it's nice and even when you switch your strings, which can is very difficult sometimes.
Very good. Thanks, Paul. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to address what Ken was talking about with his pinky reaching the fourth fret. Like I tell my students, you spent your whole life before you learned how to play the guitar doing this, where you just pick something up and you put it down. And this is the only shape your hand really knows how to do.
Yeah.
Is this?
Good point.
And that. And that's it. Through guitar, you're going to have to develop muscles, and you will over time. This isn't going to be like tomorrow. This isn't going to be a week. This is going to be you mess around with the guitar for a few months, and slowly but surely, you're going to get to a place where that pinky will hit that fourth fret. But it takes time. And like I said, you're building muscles and ligaments in your hand that you've never had to do before because there was no reason for it. Now there is. So, yes, you will be able to get that pinky. But like they said, using your pinky to play is usually a little difficult at first because it is your weakest finger. So,
all right. Daniel.
Yes, one of the things I've always showed my beginner students also is a little stretching exercise. It's not really bad. You can do it before each time you play. And that's taking your hand, open your fingers, put it in, twist it. Next one, twist. Next one, twist. It really puts a stretch on the fingers, getting them apart, and it makes it easier when you start get that pinky going a little bit farther.
Very good. And it just occurred to me, Paul, that Kelly had put together a stretching video, which was excellent. I mean, really, if you are a physical player and you start to ache after you play, there is a video that we've posted on the G4V Learning Center that Kelly Perkins, our instructor in Arizona, has put together, and it's using water bottles, right? Is that right, Paul?
Yeah, I'll see if I could find it and put the link in the chat.
Okay, yeah. So no need to injure yourself, and just these are things that it is a very physical activity, playing guitar, and it may not be using all the joints and muscles that you typically use, which is why it may be a little painful afterwards. Matt, as crazy as it sounds, it helps if I run warm water over my hands before playing. Absolutely. Yeah, warm them up. When you play cold, if you go to a concert that's out in the cold and you see the guys or ladies wearing gloves, there's a reason for that, because it's easier to move those joints and move those fingers when it's warmer. So definitely, thank you for pointing that out. Okay, let's go to the next page. We're going to count beats. All right. Now you guys ladies and gentlemen, can do this on your own. You're taking a drive, you're listening to your favorite song, and you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're naturally teaching yourself how to keep count, and it's an essential part of playing music, is counting beats. And there are a couple of different popular time signatures, if you will, that are easy to identify. 4/4 time, which is known as common time, and is probably your favorite song that's in 4/4 time. And it's counted like this. You ready? Here we go, everyone. You're going to do this with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's counting in 4/4 time. How easy was that? Really? Then there's the waltz, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Two different things. All right? Take It to the Limit by the Eagles. 3/4 time. Right? So if you're looking for an example, that's one song that I can tell you is in 3/4 time. Whereas most of the other songs will be in common time, 4/4. So there you go. That's the quick overview. Guys, did I miss anything on that? Anything to add?
I was just going to say, if you're wondering why he's using the term 4/4 and 3/4, just think of it this way. When you're listening to your song and you're most likely hitting your steering wheel kind of beating to the music, drumming on your steering wheel, you'll notice that there's a hard beat in a lot of songs where you're just hitting a little harder.
Kind of feels.
That's your one.
Yeah.
That's your one. And then
Feels
it might
like it,
go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And you hear it constantly going through your head as you're listening to music. That's because there's 4 beats and then it repeats itself over and over. So you'll hear, when you listen to music now, listen to see if you can hear that hard beat in the
Thanks,
song.
Kathy. Thank you. Kathy is showing up what it kind of looks like. And again, this is like, I'm not a numbers guy. Wait, sounds more like math. I thought this was guitar. Well, don't worry about it. We're gonna cover that in the next few weeks. Okay. So anyway, thank you for that, David, Kathy. Thank you. Let's see here. Let's move on to the next page. Reading chord charts. This is going to be one of those things that we're definitely going to be sharing with you. We're going to teach this to you. But in essence, this is what a chord chart looks like. And we're looking at page, I think it's page 9. Reading chord charts. And it looks like a box. It's a grid. It's got symbols. You know, where do you place your fingers on what string? What's the name of the chord? And if you take a quick look at, if you go to maybe either sheet music that's written for guitar, or going to ultimateguitar.com, where we find a lot of our music for the iJam play along, which is every first Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Shameless plug for there. And this is what you're going to see. You're going to see chord charts, and it's going to resemble that. So just FYI, if you don't know it, don't worry about it, because we're going to show you how to interpret that. We're also going to take you through actually playing along to these chord charts. Here's an example of that. We're playing the E minor chord and an A sus2 chord. These are 2 very popular 2-finger chords that we teach in ITAG, and with the national program as well too. And it's basically reading this from left to right. We see it's an E minor chord and an A sus2 chord. This is the second chord. Then the next chord is an E minor and then an A sus2 chord. What's a sus? Don't worry about it. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. It's just an example to show you that, okay, we're going to read through this. We're going to have you play through this together when we go through ITAG. All right. So let me stop there. Comments, questions? Yeah, the grid system is fairly easy to interpret as well too, until you get into something that is like, oh my goodness, how am I going to play that? How am I going to play a sus7 plus a 9th chord? I don't know. I'm going to have to ask Daniel, because he's the guru. So
what was that again, Tom?
Never mind. It's okay. I'm just giving you a hard time, buddy. All right. So let's now move to
my E minor to A sus.
I know. I mean, I can do that. In fact, if you guys want to try it, pick up your guitar right now. We're going to show you how to do this. You're going to place 2 of your fingers, preferably, your middle finger and your ring finger, on that 5th string and the 4th string, and it looks like this. So I'm going to take my middle finger, put that on the 5th string and the 2nd fret, and then right below that, I'm going to put my ring finger on the 2nd fret, 4th string. And if you're holding it correctly, like, we gave you a crash course on how to do this, it should sound okay. It should sound, and then, if you've got that figured out, then you take those same 2 fingers and you move them up to the 3rd and 4th string, and you play that. And this is, these are the 2 chords we're going to teach you, and we're just going to go back and forth. Right?
Yeah.
Aren't you glad you packed your guitar tonight?
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't sound right, it's going to sound right, because when you make it through ITAG, we're going to show you how to do it. Okay, so there you go. That's the play along section. You can definitely look forward to putting that guitar to use. You're not going to just hear us talk. We're going to make you play too. So be ready for that. Now, if you were a part of the last Guitar Brigade, they took you through a bunch of different strum patterns. Both Ken, Dave, and Paul, they took you through the different strumming patterns. And this one they did cover. It's the golden rule of strumming. So we were talking about counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Every time you come up with a number, you're stroking down with that. You're doing a downstroke. And every time you're saying and, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you're going up. So down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're gonna go through that as well too, because you need to know how some of these strums work in order to play some of the songs that you want to learn or improvise. So we're going to arm you with some strumming patterns. We're also, let's see here. I'm sorry. Let me just share my screen one more time again here to show you what I'm talking about. So the golden rule of strumming, again, every number, it's a down stroke. And then if it's if it's in between numbers, it's going to be an upstroke. Okay, so that's in the handout. If you go to the next page, page 12, we're going to also talk about quarter notes and eighth notes. So if you haven't had enough numbers, you're going to love this section as well too, because we're going to kind of talk about what's the note value, what's the length of a quarter note and an eighth note, and how does that really tie into strumming. And it all seems so advanced right now, but I know you're going to get it. So we'll help you along with that. And with that, I'm going to say we have come to the end of really the overview of ITAG, the intro to the acoustic guitar. There's a lot of stuff here, but we're going to cover all of it in the next 4 weeks. So I have not looked at the comment section or the chat section. So maybe if there's something, I don't know, is there something that sticks out to you guys that I may have missed, or any questions for that matter that anyone has about the material that we've just kind of went through?
Yeah. Did you cover a pick?
Oh, what do we need to know about playing fingers? And because I'll tell you what, when I first started, it was this was my bluegrass instructor, first guitar class I ever took. We will not use a pick. You're using only your fingers. I have to thank her for that, because it's like I can finger pick. Mm-hmm. But boy, oh boy, when I sat in with my first jam session and they all had electric guitars, that finger picking didn't work. I had to learn how to play a pick. But Joel, what do you want to share about picks?
For me, I kind of think that you're going to shake somebody's hand and kind of roll your fingers in towards you. And then for me, since I'm holding my pick with my left hand, I just have the fat part of the pick here the way I play, and the points pointed towards my right. And then I just kind of strum like that. Also, I suffer from tremors, so I call it the Scotty Hastings pick. It's his signature model.
Shark tooth, right?
Yeah, the shark tooth. So it just wraps around your thumb, and it's with Velcro, and you can hold it, and you won't have to worry about dropping it.
There are gadgets. There are gadgets out there that we'll likely touch on as well too. Thank you for sharing that, Joel.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. And fingers, it's like if you want to play using just your fingers, that's awesome, because we're teaching mostly using picks, but we also have some players who have made it clear that, I'd like to play with fingers, so we can show you both. So why not know both? You become more versatile that way, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a finger player. I don't use a pick typically. I can if I want, but typically I strum with my thumb. And that is because when I went through the program, that's what was comfortable for me at the time. Now, in all my classes, I, of course, have all my students pick up a pick and try it out. I tell them that they should learn it because, like Tom pointed out, it'll become useful if you need to be louder. My instructor with Guitars for Vets put it this way: the pick is your amplifier for acoustic guitar. If you need to plug in your acoustic to make it louder, that's what a pick is for. So, and obviously there's different picks and stuff. I will say when you're going through these 10 weeks, these 11 weeks, you're going to see a lot of advertisements on social media for different guitar gadgets and gizmos and stuff. I would stay away from all of it. There's a lot of stuff out there that probably won't help you and will probably be a waste of money, but it's kind of a gimmicky thing. So until you're better at playing the guitar and you understand what you're trying to develop, I would refrain from buying any of that stuff. You'll see plastic things that cover the fretboard to make it easier to play a chord. You'll see a lot of weird stuff. They'll stretch your hand out supposedly and all that. I'd stay away from all of that stuff until you understand the guitar more and you understand what you're trying to do. So
Real good.
Unless,
All right.
unless of course,
Paul.
it's a Guitars for Vets pick.
oh yeah, of course.
Are there such a thing? Is there such a thing? I don't remember getting that.
I
memo.
still haven't got mine
mean this
yet,
one?
Paul.
Well, David is showing kind of one of the older picks. For a while in the store, I checked this morning, they weren't there, but I'll grab one real quick. But we have some green camo ones that were in the G4V shop.
Oh, okay. I might get
Oh, I'm
some.
liking that.
Paul,
All right,
I
listen.
like a .73.
I'm going to show everyone. I know we're coming up. We're coming up on the end of the program here. You should be looking at right now the G4V Learning Center in Cav Arts, and where you're going to find the ITAG, and this is everyone's homework assignment, by the way. Yes, I'm assigning everyone who's on this call to go into ITAG. All right, you see where I'm at? ITAG. And it's going to provide you with the curriculum, the reading material, the videos. There are handouts as well too. It's structured in a way that you can take it at your own pace. But here's the thing. We're giving you until a week from today to study everything because we're going to be reviewing it. The panel and I will be coming back here and we're going to be talking in depth, in detail, the things that you need to know that's in Module 1. If you would like to check out maybe a previous live event recording, you're welcome to take a look at the ones that have come before tonight's, but I will be posting this in the coming days as well too from today. But if you want to go back to some of the things that we presented previously to get a jump start, by all means, feel free to go ahead and do that. So that's where you're going to find it. If you wanted to look for the handout for tonight, I believe, let's see, it's in the past now. I believe if you go to the event itself, you're going to scroll down into the body of the invitation and you'll see the ITAG program overview and Module 1 presentation. All right. So that's any closing comments, gents? Thank you again for being a part of the instructor panel, everyone. David, any closing thoughts?
I guess for those that are going through the program and watching this, it gets easier. Over time, it gets easier. I tell all my students, you're going to start out with your first few months struggling to get the perfect chord to sound out. And that's totally normal. When I graduated the program, my chords didn't sound perfect. They didn't sound clean, but I knew where I needed to work on from there. So that's totally normal. That's fine. You're going to improve over time. Now, the next thing, you're going to find that in a few years, the guitar isn't going to be this, I have to learn. You're going to find it's more of a fidgety thing where you pick it up and you try to do new things with it and you try to figure out a different sound and stuff. And you'll treat it a little bit different over time than looking at it as I must sit down, I must practice, I need to learn kind of thing. It'll be a toy to fidget around with and enjoy. So if you can stick through it, get through the lessons, get the basic knowledge that we're teaching, you're going to love this thing. You really will.
Joel, closing comments?
I would say stick with it. For me, going through lessons, I got a stressful job, and my last 10 minutes before I go to bed, a chord that I want to work on at a time, I'll just sit on my bed and just practice strumming that chord for about 10 minutes, and then I'm good and relaxed and ready to go to sleep.
Awesome. All right. Daniel.
15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day is all it takes. It's all you need to do. And I guarantee you'll be playing like a pro in about 2 or 3 years. It takes some time. It takes a lot of patience, but there's a lot of fun and a lot of rewards when you're playing one of these. They become your best friend.
Yep. One of the things that always has stayed with me, and I want you, as if you're instructors on here, I want you to kind of file this away in terms of the impact that you're making on these lives. And if you're a new student, I want you to kind of hear this in a new way if you can. But several of our veterans, after they have graduated and I would say formed a relationship with the guitar, they talk about sitting down and strumming the guitar and feeling the vibration against their chest. And they use words like sanctuary or safe place. And so we have, a lot of vets that struggle with trauma or not. It might not even be trauma related, but the guitar is such, we kind of jokingly say it's just the guitar, but it's so much more deeper than that. And so if you're a student of it, you're going to have a friend for the lifetime. And if you're an instructor, thank you so much for giving this gift to our heroes.
And in closing, if you're interested in becoming an instructor, this is the material, really. If you know this material, if you know the material, Paul at guitarsforvets.org, because we want you to be a part of the fun. I mean, you're seeing a part of the instructor panel, and it's there's a lot of collaboration that takes place and a lot of fun programs, and it's fun. So talk to Paul about that. The last thing I want to mention to you, some of the upcoming events on our calendar. We've got on March 30th, Saturday, we've got a song lesson with Mike Kelly, who's got his own G4V channel and teaching certain songs, different styles of songs like open tuning. He's going to be doing that at 11 a.m. Pacific on the 30th of March. We've also got the iJam Play-Along event, which is every first Thursday. April 4th is the next one. It is going to be at 5:30 p.m. And we've got a whole bunch of songs to go through, and you can put your strumming pattern. Maybe you learned a few strums from the Guitar Brigade, and maybe you'd like to learn a few songs on your own. We've got the song list ready. It's already posted on the event page itself, so you can download the book. We've got the Guitar Shop coming up on Saturday, April 13th. Both Daniel and I bring in some instructors to talk about, this time around, folk instruments, banjo, mandolin, ukulele, dobro. If you're interested in considering taking up a second or third instrument, and as a folk instrument, you want to join us for that, we've got a guest speaker coming in. Yep. Go ahead, Daniel.
Oh, no, you were just getting to him. David Tanner from Gold Tone Music Group will be entertaining us with the different products that Gold Tone makes, the different bluegrass instruments and folk instruments that they have in their line.
Yeah. Check it out. It's all on the upcoming events page. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and bid you all a farewell, a good night, and thank you for attending, and to our panelists as well too. Thank you, gentlemen, for
Thank you, Tom.
contributing to the conversation.
Thank you, Tom.